Coach T, where you been? Where you was at yesterday? Listen, it's the birthday countdown, okay? I had to, hey. After my sessions yesterday, Coach T had some self-care time. And I'm like, let me wait and do this on Sunday. Okay? I want y'all to see all my little nappiness. And listen. So I said, let me come on today and speak to my wives, because I know I was supposed to come on yesterday. So happy self-care Sunday. Happy self-care Sunday. I'm in a different location today. This is what happens when This is what happens when the family is home. You have to go and tuck off to the side. I can't be in the living room today, so I had to come to my little mini office room area where I do my creative thinking. And so listen, I want to talk to y'all briefly today, real briefly today. After having a few consultations and a few sessions, I have concluded to this message. Make it make sense, Coach T. Make it make sense. Just make it make sense. All right? And so I want to just start off by saying this. It probably won't make sense in the beginning. All right? It probably would not make sense in the beginning. And so if you give me a moment, I'm going to try and help you. Hey. All right, South Africa. If you give me a moment to explain a little bit, I'm going to try to help you to make sense of this thing called marital restoration, this marital journey that a lot of people are standing on. So look, let me say a quick little prayer and we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. Father, we bless you. We love you. We thank you, Jesus, for your amazing grace, Lord. I pray now, Lord, for your presence to come upon this live. I pray for your presence, God, to come upon this message, Lord. I pray, Lord, for every wife that may come upon this message, Lord, that she will receive confirmation and revelation, God. I pray that you will spark something on the inside of her, God, to bring her to a place of action, to bring her to a place of change, to bring her to a place of revelation, Lord, where she can receive something and hear something that you have been dealing with her with, tugging at her heart about. Lord, I pray that she will receive that on today, Lord. As we bless you in advance, we thank you. May there be no backlash, God. May you cover me and cover this message in Jesus' name. Amen. All righty. Listen, thank you. So I want to say it probably won't make sense in the beginning, okay? It probably won't make sense in the beginning. And I want to first start off by saying this. If you, wife, do not have a stable foundation on your stand, you have to make a decision. All right? So many wives I come in communication with, they're lopsided. They're not even certain or even sure if, I don't even know if I really want to do this or not. Or I don't even know if I'm really supposed to be doing this. Or I don't even know if I'm doing this right. Or I don't even know. Okay? I want to first say, you're not going to have a stable foundation, wife, until you make a decision to stand. I know a lot of times we hear wives say that, well, I didn't get clarification from God. Or I haven't received any instructions from God. Or I don't necessarily know that God has told me to do this. Or I don't even know if I should be doing this. Or you just get some wives who be like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this, but it still feel like every time I try to do something opposite of this, I feel like God is telling me just, to be still. Or I feel a tug that I'm not supposed to do that. Or I feel like my conscience beating me and I feel a certain kind of way about it. So I don't even know. I don't even desire to really even do this. Okay. I don't really even desire to do this. And that's fine. That's fine. You have a right to feel how you feel. Okay. But at the end of the day, what it boils down to is you have to make a decision. Okay, you have to make a decision whether or not you're going to do it. Until you make a decision, your stand is not really hasn't really begun. If I'm being honest, you're not really standing if you're kind of like, well, I'm just going to stand today. I'm not going to stand tomorrow. Or I'm going to stand for 5 months. Or okay, I'm tired, I don't want to do this. That backwards and forth, the up and down, the going backwards and forth. You are really, what are you doing in that place? You are altering your seasons. You are altering your seasons. You are placing your own self on that guinea pig, wheel. You are in that circle and you have no stability. And it's not until you make a decision like, hell or high water, I'm doing this. Whatever the outcome may be, I'm doing this. However it turned out, I'm doing this because I am going to do what the Lord is desiring for me to do. I'm going to do what the Lord has asked me to do. Or I'm going to do what God's word tells me to do, okay? Which is what we're going to get into today, all right? So first, you have to make a decision to stand, okay? You have to make a decision to stand, wife, okay? You have to eliminate the spirit of complaining. Eliminate the spirit of complaining and switch to laboring, all right? If you've ever experienced, child labor, if you ever have had a child, you know what laboring feels like, okay? You know what that is. Laboring is discipline, okay? And for the last couple of videos I've been doing, I've been talking about discipline. When you are laboring, wife, you are in a place of discipline, okay? This is how you are disciplining yourself. And if you're going to stand, if you're going to make a decision to stand for this marital restoration journey, if you're going to make a decision to stand for your marriage, if you're standing in the gap for your family, you have to understand, you have to make a decision and stay there, okay? If you're not unsure, if you're wavering, you have to get to a place where you make a decision. And one of the things I always encourage wives to do is go on a 30-day fast. After God has said what he said, because he is going to speak, after God has made it clear to you what he wants from you, because he will tell you, once he tell you at that time, you have to make a decision. Now, am I going to say, oh, well, if I make a decision to do it and then I'm on here, I can't complain at all? I'm not saying that you can't complain at all, but I'm saying you got to know how to get on and get off. You got to know, okay, I'm having a bad day, but guess what? I'm snapping back, all right? Yes, I don't really like how how this is looking right now today, but guess what? I'm going to snap on back, all right? Jim Ellis said, wherever you are, be all there. Wherever you are, be all there. And so with that, I want to just jump right into what I want to share with you today, okay? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Well, this journey will actually challenge every moral value, belief system, and traditional background you have ever believed or was taught. This marital restoration journey is going to challenge that. Okay. During my time of devotion and my time of studying this week, I was in the story of Moses. All right. I was in the story of Moses. And one of the things that God highlighted in Moses' story was his great humility and his obedience. Okay. His great humility and his obedience. Neither one of those words sounds like something you want to really play with. Okay. I don't enjoy either one of those words. Okay. But this is what Moses had. All right. This is what Moses had. And Moses believed God and he did what God told him to do. That's what I got from the story. He believed God and he did exactly what God told him to do in spite of. And wife, you have to be honest with yourself. How are you doing with that? How are you doing with that? Okay. Are you believing God? Are you doing what God has asked you to do? Okay. Moses was an imperfect man, chosen by God to lead God's people out of captivity. All right. God heard the cries of his people and he was building up the right leader to come and rescue them. If you have been following me for a while, you know I'm always talking about what the instructions that God has given you. What were the instructions God has given you? Okay. This is where it's come from. Okay. This is where I was first led when I was on this journey. All right. What was the instructions that God has given you? All right. What were the instructions God has given you concerning your marriage, wife? What did he say or show you specifically about your marriage? What did God promise you? What was the last thing he said to you about your marriage? Those are some of the questions that you have to begin to ask yourself. What has God instructed me to do? What has God? And maybe he didn't necessarily come out and say, oh, Shonda, I need you to do A, or B, I need you to do C. He may didn't come out and say it directly that way, but he's probably giving you a vision. He's probably giving you a dream. He's probably sent somebody on your path to say and speak something into you. He's probably been showing you signs and billboards, or talking to you through music, or talking to you through the TV. Okay. So you have to be able to pick up what God is putting down in your life, all right? You have to be able to pick up what he's putting down, all right? And wife, you have to make a decision. I keep going back to this decision making because this is just part of it. You're not going to move or go anywhere or really be able to do anything until you do this. You have to make a decision, too, that you will do this journey God's way. You have to make a decision that you are going to do what God is asking of you. You have to make a decision that you want to please God regardless of the outcome, okay? One of the things that is always highlighted, and I know I try to emphasize it a lot, but one of the things I'd like to highlight is it's not about just your marriage, okay? This marital restoration journey is not just about your marriage. You have to, and I was listening to a message this morning, which was very interesting. I want to encourage you guys to go back and listen to it from Yvette and Gerald. Oh my goodness. They are coaches as well. They are marriage coaches as well. And one of the things that they shared in a video message today was, you have to be on this journey, not just because for your marriage. Like, this is not just about your marriage, okay? And a lot of us coaches try to emphasize that to our followers and our clients, our wives, and for the ones who works with husbands as well. This is not just about your marriage. This journey is not about your marriage. And if you're doing it only for that, then you might as well hang up the towel and just call it quits now. You might as well just turn in your boxing gloves and just say, all right, I'm out. Because if you're only doing it for that reason, you've already lost the battle. You lost the battle right there. You cannot be on this journey only just to say, okay, I want my husband to come back home. Or, okay, I want my marriage to get back in a healthy place. Or, okay, I want my marriage to be back in this place. No. All right. I'm trying to help y'all to make it make sense, okay? I'm trying to help it make it make sense. Listen, I hear you. All right. My fight just keeps getting stronger, even while things are getting worse. I feel really convicted to stand. You feel convicted to stand? Okay, we need to talk then. We might need to talk because there's probably some areas that need to be highlighted and brought to your attention. Sometimes that's just come with, just getting some clarity. So I would definitely encourage you, if you want to set up a consultation. I'm gonna have my website on here. You can go ahead and set up a consultation, because it sounds like it's something else there, and it could be something small. It could be something really, really simple. And so that's why clarification is so important on this journey, and making sure that you speak to somebody just to get some questions asked. All right. So listen, you got to be doing this more than just for your marriage, okay? It has to be bigger than that, all right? We know the story about Moses, okay? Moses did not make it to the promised land, all right? He did not make it to the promised land. He did get a chance to see and experience it, but he did not make it to the promised land. And my question is, how will your story go, wife? How will your story go? Will you make it to the promised land? Will you get to the place that God is trying to get you to, all right? And today I want to share a few scriptures about the marital covenant. I am a real big advocate when it comes down to the marital covenant, all right? And sometimes, I know a lot of times, people try to get away of what the word actually says, but I'm a strong believer. If you just go back and read what God's word said, it is clear, honey. It is ice clear, okay? And I want to give you some practical and biblical tools today to help make it a little bit more easier, to help you to make sense of some of this, all right? However, we do serve a Father. We do serve a God who, though our ways are not his ways and our thoughts are not his thoughts, and the way he may want you to process through things is not necessarily the way that we may think it's supposed to go, okay? You may think, oh my God, like this is, I remember telling God like one time, like, this is torture. Like, I feel like I'm being tormented. Like, did I do something wrong? Like, Jesus, help me, not realizing it was like, those were some of the moments that you had to go through in order for you to get stronger. Those are some of the moments that you had to endure in order for you to learn how to labor. Those are some of the moments that you had to go through in order for you to get built up and strengthened. I was using that situation to make you stronger, not just for your marriage, but also in other areas as well. Hello. Not just in your marriage, but in other areas as well. So you have to understand, wife, it goes way deeper than that. God's saying, don't be trying to think like me, because you can't think like me. The way I think and how you think is totally different, okay? You can't get on my level, all right? The only thing you can do is trust my process. The only thing you can do is trust my plan for you, okay? His ways and our ways are totally different, okay? And like I said, so many people try to debate and argue and take parts of the Bible and make it what they want it to be. But God is very clear. Okay, he is very clear. What is a biblical covenant marriage? In a simpler format, it is a lifetime commitment. Period. Period. Everybody want to ask questions. Oh, but what if this happened? Oh, but what if this happened? Oh, what if but this happened? Oh, what if he did this? Or what about this situation? It is a lifetime commitment. Okay, the marriage vow is the verbal expression of a lifetime, as a lifelong commitment, and that has always and will always be God's design for marriage. Okay, make it make sense. That's it. God said, this is what it is. I created marriage to be a lifetime commitment, because once it's over here, we ain't going to heaven being married. We ain't going to heaven with our husbands. We ain't going to heaven with our spouses. Okay, we're going to heaven on our own. And what the marriage was here on earth, it's not what it is going to be in heaven. So God said, get it right here. I need you to get it right here. All right. Jesus clearly explained God's expectation on marriage when he said, have you not read that he who made them at the beginning made them male and female? And said, for this reason, a man should leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So then they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, let not man separate. That's Matthew 19:4-6. Hello. All right. Jesus said, look, God gave you the expectation of marriage. This is what it is. Okay. It's crystal clear. All right. He made it very clear for you, straight from out of Matthew 19:4-6. Okay. But what about the D word? Okay. Because a lot of people always ask about that question. What about divorce? What God have to say about divorce? Okay. The only reason God gave an option for divorce, because that was never his plan. That was never part of his plan. But he gave the option for divorce was because of the hardened hearts of the people. The only reason God offered Moses the option to give to bring divorce forward is because of the hardened heart of the people. Jesus replied, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, permitted you to divorce your wives. But from the beginning, it was not so. And I say to you, whoever divorces his wife except for sexual immorality and marries another commits adultery. And whoever marries her who is divorced commits adultery. That's Matthew 19:89. So many people get stuck and stop at the front part of Matthew 19, and they don't read further down when it comes down to the divorce part. God is saying, yes, you have that option to divorce your spouse if they have committed adultery. Yes, you have that option. Okay, but that doesn't change how I feel about marriage being a commitment for a lifetime. That doesn't change that I would still prefer you to be with your spouse for a lifetime. Now, I'm not on here to tell you to stay with your adulterous partner, whatever. I'm not on here for that. But what I am saying is God is telling us very clear, my design for marriage has always been for a lifetime. And this is why he offers forgiveness. Okay, this is one of the reasons why he offers forgiveness. Now, when you're dealing with people, okay, when you're dealing with people, that's sometimes hard. Okay, that's sometimes hard to do. But one of the things I always try to highlight for my wives, especially in my wife settings, is when it says, let's just say, wife, you was not the one who was cheating. Okay, let's just say you didn't do the cheating. Okay, your husband did the cheating, and you said, okay, I'm not going to divorce my husband. I'm gonna go ahead and forgive him. But he said, okay, I'm going to go ahead. He's gonna make a decision to divorce you. Now, of course, you don't have no control over what another person do. You don't have no control over that. But when he presents that to you, you have to understand. What I've told, have mentioned to wives on plenty of occasions was, let it be known, you put me in a position where you are having me to be in an adulterous relationship. If I try to marry somebody again now, I'm in an adulterous relationship. Now, of course, God is a forgiving God. And again, we don't have no control of what people do to us. Some things are just out of our control. But I say that to say, don't you be the one who come in agreement with it. Don't you be the one helping him. Don't you be the one, oh, well, let's just go and do it then. Whatever you want. No, you don't be in agreement with the foolery, okay? Because you're placing yourself in that category of being an adulteress yourself, okay? This is one of the reasons why I emphasize to wives, Don't help your husband divorce you. Do not help your husband to divorce you, okay? If you was not the one who cheated and your husband demands a divorce from you, you need to show him what this scripture says, okay? Or stand on it yourself. When he decides, okay, I'm going to go to the courts, or I'm going to go and he done filed or whatever, I always tell wives, get them a red marker, write that thing on out, put a big old X on it, plead the blood of Jesus against it, and stand on God's word, okay? Stand on God's word concerning your marriage, all right? Now, of course, if he cheated, yes, you do have that right to divorce him if that's what God is leading you to do. Again, that's why it's important for wives to be in alignment with God for themselves. Also, if abuse and abandonment is present, yes, you have that right to divorce. However, God's design for marriage has always been for a lifetime. Now, you hear so many stories. So I'm not on here saying, oh, well, I'm supposed to just stay with this food. He putting his hands on me and he doing all this kind of stuff. No, you got to still be wise, all right? You have to still use wisdom. You apply wisdom in every situation, okay? So I'm not telling you to stay with a fool. I'm not telling you that. But I'm not telling you to leave him either, okay? I don't have no say in that. That's between you and God, all right? Coach T, are you saying I'm just supposed to just spend the rest of my life in hell and going through this? No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is you have to seek out God's perfect will for you and for your marriage. Okay. So many wives want somebody else to decide for them. Okay. And that was another thing that Yvette and Gerald talked about. They said, you know, God been already told you what you're supposed to do, but it's like you looking for somebody else to give you a different answer, or God been already specifically told you to do a thing, but then you go to somebody else and you tell them your story and they say, no, I think you should do this, but God already said to you what he wants you to do. Okay. So it's like, you got to make a decision. Are you going to listen to what they say, or are you going to listen to what God said? At the end of the day, the decision is up to you. Okay. The decision is up to you. Coach T, I don't have that authority to tell you to stay or to go, okay? And I don't ever tell wives to stay or go. That decision is always to the wife, all right? That decision is between you and God. However, I do encourage wives to read Matthew 19:8 to 9 before they sign or agree to anything. Before they sign or agree to anything. God's original plan for marriage has always been for a lifetime. Now, let's look at 1 Corinthians 7:10 to 17. Okay, and this is my favorite. All right. Now, to the married, I give this command, not I, but the Lord. A wife must not separate from her husband. But if she does, she must remain unmarried or else be reconciled to her husband. And a husband must not divorce his wife. To the rest, I say this. I, not the Lord. And this is Paul. This is why he's saying I, but not the Lord. If any brother has a wife who is not a believer, and she is willing to live with him, he must not divorce her. And if a woman has a husband who is not a believer and he is willing to live with her, she must not divorce him. So this goes to the ones. Again, you have to apply wisdom in every situation. You have to apply wisdom. But I speak to a lot of wives who say, well, I put him out, okay? I told him he had to go. You come up in here all times of the night. You staying out late. You drinking. You acting a fool. Listen, okay? Get your stuff and go. Go on about your business. Go do what you're going to do. And listen, I understand that. Coach T, guilty. I've done that, okay? Been there, done that. I've done that, okay? I've done that. But what God's word is telling us is don't you come into agreement with the enemy, okay? Don't you be the one to say it. Don't you? If they want to go, then let them go, all right? If they want to go, let them go. But if they want to stay, don't you be causing all kinds of to get them out and push them out just so you can have what you want to have at that moment at that time, okay? Because what you get, and I think I've shared this before, a lot of times when you're dealing with a person, especially a person with, you know, in addictions or whatever, and that strong man that's working through them and working in them or whatever, sometimes, listen, the best peace you done had, okay, when they leave, the best peace you have when they're no longer in the house, you're like, I'm good over here. You good, you can stay over there, I'm over here, Lord gonna work it out, boom, 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 okay? But what God is saying here is, don't push them out. If they're willing to stay, let them stay. All right. Even if they go and come, they go and come. Don't you be the one to push them out. But they make a decision to go, then let them go. Okay. And we'll go from there. But if they are willing to stay, don't you come in agreement with the mess and push them out. All right. Don't you come in agreement with the mess and push them out. All right. For the unbelieving husband has been sanctified through his wife. And the unbelieving wife has been sanctified through her believing husband. Otherwise, your children would be unclean. But as it is, they are holy. But if the unbeliever leaves, let it be. You ain't got nothing to do with you. Now, okay, you don't love, okay, well, going on. Go on, ain't got nothing to do with me, okay? The brother or the sister is not bound in such circumstances. God has called us to live in peace, okay? God has called us to live in peace, all right? So if they make a decision they want to go, let them go. You don't fight with them and try to make them stay, all right? But I always say, don't you be the one that's fighting with them to make them go, and they don't want to go, they want to stay, all right? This is my memo verse, and this is the verse that I use on my product, on my Bone Seed His Wife product, all right? Verse 16 and 17. How do you know, wife? How do you know, wife, whether you will save your husband? And then the second part to that, it says, or how do you know, husband, whether you will save your wife? Nevertheless, each person should live as a believer in whatever situation the Lord has assigned to them, just as God has called them, okay? And this is the rule I lay down in all the churches. So God's word here is saying, listen, how do you know? It won't be your behavior. It won't be your meekness. It won't be your spirit. It won't be how you love. It won't be what they see in you. Those things are going to be attractive to them, and those can be the very things that can save your spouse. Those can be the very things that will allow me to connect and get to their heart. Those will be those things, okay? How do you know that you won't be able to save them? Just by you allowing them to be themselves, to give them that freedom, okay? God's called us to freedom, and you allowing them that freedom of whatever it is or whatever they need to get through whatever they need to get through, okay? Hello, you giving them that freedom and that space to get through to whatever they need to get through. God is saying that right there, that's attractive. That is attractive. Now, am I sitting here saying, oh, you just somebody just walk all over you? No, but you do got to come to a place where you're like, Lord, I need you to show me how to walk this out. I need you to show me how to do this. I need you to show me what I'm supposed to be doing in this, okay? So what does that mean? What does all that mean I just read? God's original plan for marriage has always been set for a lifetime. However, God gives free will. All right. God gives free will. Marriage is the full gospel. Marriage is the full gospel. All right. And let me explain how. Our marriage relationship is connected to Jesus Christ. All right. And his relationship to the church. Christ will never divorce his bride. Christ would never put the church away and issue her a bill of divorce. Christ's not going to do that, okay? He's not going to do that. The statements do not make sense. These statements do not make sense to the average Joe, but it's very, very clear what God is telling you about marriage, okay? It is very clear what he is telling you about marriage. Now, I want to just caution you and just say here, when if you hear people talk about a rhema word or a rhema, something just I heard this in my spirit, or something jumped off in my spirit, and something said I'm supposed to be doing this. Sometimes God will may or he will direct you to another direction. He may redirect you. I think Yolanda Adams, she talked about it on her radio station before when she was doing a radio station with the two other guys. I can't remember what their name was, but I remember her saying, because she was in I think abusive marriage, her first marriage, and I remember her saying that God specifically told her to get out of that. You got to go. Like, God told her, like, this ain't for you. And so you got to be careful about what God's word says, and then God giving you an actual rhema word, okay? And what she received was a rhema word. I mean, God specifically told her, you got to go or he gonna kill you, okay? You got to go. Hello. You got to go or he's going to kill you, okay? So God's rhema word, okay, overpowers his word, okay, in the Bible. If God directly says something to you like, no, don't do that, or no, that's a no for me on this end. If God Rhema word says something, even though the Bible word says another thing, you go with God's Rhema word, okay? Because that's God speaking directly to your spirit. That's God speaking directly to you, okay? All right, so the story of Hosea and Gomer was a picture of the faithful covenant keeping relationship between God and Israel. And although Gomer was guilty of whoredom, Hosea was faithful to her. And although Israel was guilty of vile whoredom with the other gods, God, little g, God, big G, remained faithful to his people and kept his covenant. All right? Listen, in a nutshell, I'm gonna read it in just a moment. In a nutshell, marriage is a picture of his love for his people and his faithfulness towards them. That's what your marriage represents. Everything else in the marriage is a bonus, okay? Everything else in the marriage is a bonus. Let me read this question. Coach T, this season can be a roller coaster ride, and I've learned to fix my eyes on God. Good, because looking at the joy that our spouses are portraying can derail us from the bigger purposes. And you may have to make a decision not to be looking at them during this time, because the enemy is real good and real trickery with making things look a certain way that's not really for real. Okay, he's real good at that. So you may have to set some boundaries for yourself. And again, this would be something that we could talk more about if you want to sign up for a consultation. That would be a good place to start. You might have to set some boundaries, because a lot of wives are paying attention to what their husbands is doing. And oh my God, he living his best life. Oh my God, he over there doing this. I'm over here struggling. Oh my God, I'm going through all these things over here, and he over here just doing all this kind of stuff or whatever. And you have no idea that he is like living on highway hell. You have no idea. He ain't got no peace. You got no idea the things that the enemy is tormenting him with. It may look like everything is cool and dandy, but you have no idea. He may be going through all kinds of stuff. All right. Why did God choose you for this assignment? Why did God choose you for this assignment? Okay. God chose you to be the chain breaker. Okay. He needed someone. All right. He needed someone to set the tone for the bloodline. He needed someone to set the tone in motion for change. He needed someone to set an example. He needed someone to be radical enough to finish the course. Okay. He chose you because he needed someone to be an example to the lost world and the people around you, your family, your friends, your neighbors, unbelieving associates. Okay. These people need to see us work through our marriage and our difficulties and overcome challenges as we keep our covenant. All right. God chose you to have the audacity, all right, to believe in him. He said, I need to choose somebody who is going to be bold enough to say, I'm going to do it your way anyways, God. I'm going to choose you anyways. I'm going to go your route anyways. I'm going to follow through with this with you anyways. He said, I need somebody to be bold in this season. I need somebody to take courage in this season. I need somebody to say, okay, I'm going to go all the way. I'm going to go all the way. All right. So let's talk practical. You and your husband are separated, whether he is in the home or out, because a lot of times people just think because they're out the home that's when they're separated. But you can actually still be in the home and be separate from your spouse, even if y'all in the same room or same bed. Because he can be there physically, but his heart could be somewhere totally different. Okay. All right. Please understand that means that you are still married. Doesn't matter the years of time that has kept you this way. You're married. He leaves, he cheats, he's having an affair, but the D word still hasn't come up or taken place. Guess what? You are still married. You are still married. Okay. And that's to say you make a decision to cheat and you want to go do your own thing and you decide, okay, he living his best life. I want to live my best life too. And you do that. Guess what? Y'all still married. Y'all still married, okay? I knew a couple that was married over 20 years. Over 20 years. They were separated 15 years, but they were still married. They was living in separate homes, had separate lives, had separate significant others. I mean, just separate everything. But guess what? Nobody had ever got a divorce. They were still married. They were still underneath the covenant, all right? Just because you and your spouse are not on what the world may view as marital terms, it doesn't take away from you being married and wife until God tells you otherwise. You are to follow his guidelines in his book. All right. You are to follow what his word says. I'm trying to make it make sense. I'm trying to make it make sense to y'all. Okay. The challenge. This is the challenge. The challenge occurs when you don't want to do that or what it seems to be unbearable. The challenge becomes when you do not want to follow the instructions of the Lord and what his word says, when you do not want to hear what God is saying, when you are basically placing yourself in a position where you won't even want to hear it. Like, I don't even want to hear it. I was with one wife one time speaking with her, and I was asked, like, well, what God said about this? And how God said about it? She's like, he said what he said. I mean, basically, she like, he said what he said. He's speaking, but I ain't really listening. In other words, what she was saying. He said a whole lot of stuff, but that don't mean I'm necessarily paying attention to it, okay? And this is where the challenge comes in, okay? Sometimes it seems unbearable. It seems like this is an impossible thing. Like, this thing is over, dead, trash. Like, anybody got time for this? Life is short. Life is short. You hear stories of times about, people who have seen their parents live this way for a lifetime, and they was saying, it's a fear of theirs. They don't want to have to go through that same thing. Like, I watched this growing up. I see my parents' experiences or whatever, and that's hard. But this is one of the things I love about my mentor. I call her my YouTube mentor, Darius Daniels. He said, you are the exception. Come on, Jesus. You are the exception. It may have happened to them. Okay, come on, Psalms 91. It may have happened to them, okay? But you are the exception, okay? And you have to know that. You have to know that. I always challenge wives and ask them the question, which report will you believe? All right? Which report will you believe? Okay? You can sit there and go by what happened with your parents, or go by, I see my mother go through this. I see my aunt go through this. I had a cousin who went through this. You can go by that report if you want to, or you can be the exception, okay? You get to make a decision, all right? So the challenge becomes when you just, you have all those different barriers that come between what God has told you versus what you've seen or what you experienced or what the world may look at it as, okay? When you have to begin asking some hard questions and making some tough decisions. At the end of the day, okay, you gotta make a decision. That's it. At the end of the day, God is like, okay, I give you free will too. I do. I give you free will too. I'm telling you what I want you to do, but at the end of the day, you have to still make your own decision. Okay, you have to make a decision. My coach, colleague, Miss Nicole, at Fighting Words for Wives. If you guys don't follow her, go follow her on YouTube. She has a phenomenal webinar where she shares in detail about the challenges. And baby, I want to tell you, go and get the webinar, okay? If you haven't got it, you have to go and get it. It is called My Husband is Home and It Hurts. This is a great webinar for wives who are, husbands are in the home, or even if the husbands are outside of the home. It is a great webinar. She goes through like the challenges and the things, basically what you are saying yes to. When God has chosen you for this assignment, she goes through a list of the things that what you say yes to. And after listening to that list, you need to make a decision if you want to go through with that, okay? You need to make a decision if that's something that you want to go through with, all right? So I would encourage wives to go and get that from her, all right? It helps wives who are in the home or even outside of the home. So let's go through some of these hard questions that a lot of wives are struggling with or going through or dealing with when they're, on this stand, okay? I'm going to share some of the questions that some of my wives ask me when they sign up for their consultations. I kind of like put some of them together, all right? About 8 questions. So one of the things I get a lot is, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be standing or not. I haven't received anything from God, okay? Another one is, am I willing to submit my life to this type of assignment, a calling for a lifetime? And is this something I have to do for the rest of my life? Like, what if he don't ever change? Like, what if things don't ever go a different way? Is this something I'm going to be, is this like a death sentence in a sense? Okay. I've been standing for a long time, no changes. What does that mean? What happens if I decide I don't want to go through this route? Will God be okay with that? These are the questions that I be getting. Will God be okay with that? What happens if I do all these things and nothing changes? How do I know God will keep his promises to me? All right. I don't want my husband back, but I do feel a tug not to leave him either. What does that mean? Is marriage a life sentence? Like, is this a life sentence? Okay. And these are some of the questions that I get asked regularly. Based off of what I just shared with you through the scriptures, you have to decide from here. All right. I would say this, though. Surrendering plays a huge part on this journey. Okay. Surrendering plays a huge part on this journey. Okay. Again, that goes back to the discipline part. You have to surrender to your reality. All right. You have to surrender to your reality wise. And your reality is this marriage is jacked up. And you probably can come up with some other words. Like, I don't even want to do this. Okay. Jesus, like, this is jacked. Okay, it's dead. Okay, look, let's just be real. I'm horny. I'm lonely. I'm frustrated. Okay, he over there living his best life. They over there doing all the things that we were supposed to be doing together. They over there partying and stuff, going on vacation, chilling and relaxing. I'm over here struggling. I'm over here paying all the bills by myself. I'm over here taking care of all the kids and all the household responsibilities. Like really, Jesus, what is up with this? What is up with this? And you know the hardest part about that is when God don't say nothing. The hardest part about that part is when you ask those questions and he just be silent. You like, are you hearing me? Do you hear me? Like, what is up with I ain't getting nothing, Jesus. I ain't getting nothing. And God don't say nothing to you. Okay? God don't say nothing to you. Because I feel like at that moment, he wants you to make a decision. He wants you to make a decision. Why? You have to surrender to your reality. Quit trying to make sense out of it. Because like I said in the beginning, it probably won't make sense. It probably won't make sense. Instead, make a decision. You have the freedom to decide. Okay, you have the freedom to decide. God is not going to decide for you. God going to put it out there. He made it very clear. He made it very plain, and you get to decide. And what a lot of wives have to understand is you have to learn how to maneuver through your emotions on this, because it is an emotional roller coaster ride. And so what you have to learn how to do is to navigate through your emotions on this journey. That's probably like the biggest thing for wives. Like, emotionally, like, ooh, I want him emotionally. I want to punch him emotionally, but I miss him emotionally. I want to just push him down the stairs emotionally. Like, you have all them different things going on. Okay. So those are the things that you're going to have to kind of like navigate through and get through. Okay. Newsflash. All right. And this is where her bonus boost come in at. All right. If your health, wife, is diminishing due to your decision to stay in your marriage, whether that be mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and or physically, you need to sign up for a consultation. If your health is diminishing on this journey, that means you are not standing correctly. That means you are not being effective on this stand. Okay. Do not allow another day to pass you by without getting clarity on your standing journey. And like I say, a lot of times people just need clarity. A lot of times people just need to, ask a question. A lot of times people just need to know, am I doing this right? Am I on the right track? Is it something that I'm missing? Like, it's something I'm not seeing. You need to get clarity. Okay. Your health challenges indicates you are not standing effectively on this journey. Okay. That is an indicator that you're not doing it well. If you start to see like, oh my God, I'm so drained. And one of the things I get from us all the time is defeat. Wives feel completely defeated. When you start feeling defeated on this journey, you are not doing your stand correctly. Okay. You're not. All right. And this is why I help wives to prioritize their self-care. I help you to prioritize your self-care on this journey, because you will go left sometimes. And you will feel like, I ain't doing this. Oh, I ain't doing this, Jesus. I ain't gonna do this for the rest of my life. I said that on the regular. I'm not doing this for the rest of my life. Who? Do what? This? No, I'm not gonna do this. Now, either one or two things are gonna happen here, okay? Either you gonna change him, or you're gonna change this. But I'm not doing this, okay? Something's gotta happen on this journey here. Something gotta take place, all right? But you gotta make sure, wife, you gotta make sure that you are making that decision. You gotta make sure that you're making that decision, and as you make a decision, make sure that you're taking care of yourself as well. All right? Yeah. I give you an opportunity to talk about your husband in my sessions. I do. And I give you an opportunity to express yourself, to get, vent it out, sound it out, whatever it is you need to do. I will give you sound counsel on the part of your marriage and even help you to understand where your husband is on his path. Okay, we talk about it. We talk about your marriage injury. We do get into that part. But her bonus boost, we talk about you, wife. We talk about what's going on with you. We talk about what's missing on your journey that you need to be working on and what you need to be focusing on. Okay. Her bonus boost help to get wives in check. Okay, it's a 6 weeks self-care, soul-care curriculum that challenge wives to pivot, to change, to do better, to get better. All right. I want to encourage you. If you have not signed up, sign up either for your consultation or if you're ready to start your hormones boost, you can sign up at www.marriagechroniclesbytanika.com. All right. www.marriagechroniclesbytanika.com. Listen, wives, listen. It may not make sense. Okay. I know so many people, I said, make it make sense. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. It might not. It might not, because to the average person or to the person who don't know what God's word says, it don't make sense. It don't make sense. And to the world, and when it comes down to what God's word says, it's not going to make sense. The world don't understand the Bible. Okay, they don't understand the Bible. And so that's why God said, I'm choosing certain ones to be that example for me. I'm choosing certain ones to be that picture for me. I'm choosing you so a world can see that, yes, you can go through hard stuff and go through these hard moments and still get through and overcome, and God will still give you the victory, okay? And so listen, I hope this must have been an encouragement to you. I hope it has been an encouragement to you. I want to encourage you again to sign up if you have not signed up already for your consultation. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your self-care Sunday. All right. Talk to you soon. Blessings.